When the lights go down in the city. Ooh.
Oh, I can't. Oh, there we go. I'm like, I can't hear myself.
Fucking Journey's been stuck in my head for a week.
You ready for this?
Cool.
Ready?
Crisp. I love it.
And we gotta get all foam.
Are you ready for this?
Is this taboo? You know what this is.
They don't fit. What did you ever What color are your underwear? Nude.
Woo! Crass and inappropriate. It's your trippy hippie Alicia jumping on the mic from good old Utah.
Yeah, I'm starting to build this shit.
Welcome
To Hard Talks.
Seduction.
where the
Talks are really hard.
Ooh! I thought this was Flaccid Talks.
This shit sounds deep.
Ring. Now you know how it feels. This is Hard Talks.
burp.
Hard Talks. Hard Talks. You're listening to Hard Talks with a blonde and a hippie.
Brought to you by Hard Talk Production.
Ooh, thank you very much.
Oh, Elliot. Hey.
Happy weekend to you guys, my beautiful Hard Talks fam. I hope wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this, you are happy, you are loving yourself, and you are just fresh. Just feeling fresh and fly. Exactly. This is Hard Talks with a Blonde and a Hippie. I'm your trippy hippie Alicia, jumping on the mic from good old Utah, joined with your favorite blonde, Sarah. How about we do an applause for ourselves?
Because we made it.
This marks the 77th episode. Yep. This is a lucky number for me. Lucky number 7. What's your lucky number?
I don't know.
No? We'll talk
21,
about that. Yeah, we'll talk about
51.
I like 21.
61.
Anything with the
13.
1. Really? Okay, we'll get into that. Before we do, though, you guys already know this is an 18-up podcast. We talk all things controversial, difficult, wildly inappropriate, and taboo. Thank you.
Ayo.
And Sarah is just a fucking sailor mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have heard me earlier.
Yeah, listen on your own time. But I'm excited to be here. We've been doing a lot of conspiracy episodes lately, and Angel was on last week on an episode I published late, which is great. So tap into that.
Of course.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. But today I just wanted to catch up with you and talk about life, bullshit like we used to, and
Just pop my shoulder. Oh.
we're here and thriving. So yes.
30, flirty, and thriving.
You know, I posted a picture that didn't say 30, flirty, and thriving. It said, what did it say? It said single,
Blank.
flirty, and thriving.
Ooh, I
Yes.
like that.
I was like, what? It
Are we
made
single?
sense.
So we are single.
I'm always single.
Why did it take so long to reply to that?
I don't want to talk about my personal relationship on the podcast anymore because I've been on such a roller coaster. It's so not anything I'm ashamed of. It's just something that I know it's a pattern, but I'm going to continue on doing it anyways.
Your eyelashes look bitchin', by the way.
Thank you. I have a really good lash girl.
You're welcome. All right. Where should we start? This honey wheat's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's the bee's knees.
The bee's knees, that honey wheat.
It's the bee's knees, is honey
it's
wheat.
a knee slapper.
Did you like that?
Catch me up with you.
So we just went camping from like Saturday to, we got home at 1:30 last night.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Where'd you go again? Idaho?
So we went to Idaho City. It's like this really, really small town.
But it's a pretty far drive, isn't it?
It's 5 hours.
Yeah, that's decent.
And we had a trailer, so it took a little bit longer. So we had a little gold mining place there, and it was cool because Chase like got a scoop in this like riverbank, and he's like, I'm gonna show you how to pan for gold, and I'm like, okay. And it's not like a lot, but we found like.
Question. Yeah. First off, right off the bat, where did Chasten learn to gold mine?
Have you met his dad?
Mine gold.
His dad is like crazy.
So he actually knows like the thorough way to do it.
Yeah. So like, his dad like bought like a
it's
like
not
a
like you're at a rock shop off the side of the road, right?
No, we're like literally like this like. So his dad actually has property up in Idaho City where you can go mining.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. So he just like grabbed a scoop in this riverbank, and he's like, "There's no gold here," and I'm like, "That's fine. Just show me how it's done." And he's like sitting there shaking it, and he goes, "Babe, look," and I'm like, "What?" And it was like the littlest fleck of like barely there piece of gold, and I picked it up with my finger, and it was like this little like pin size. I'm like, that is the cutest thing. He's like, just think. I'm like, I was the first person to touch that piece of gold.
Well, and two, it's right after you naysayer nay Chase is like, there's no gold here.
I know. I'm like, babe,
and you're
you
like,
obviously
just show me.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I want to see how it's done because we're like, so to get like really good gold, like you can see, it's actually pretty cool. Like you can see where like the Chinese, like there's like a whole like museum on it. Like the Chinese would like move these, like not freaking rocks, man. These are goddamn boulders, right? Mm-hmm.
Like our Egyptians.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You can see where they stopped.
Yeah.
So like you have to dig like 4 feet deep in basically. And then like whatever you get that, you just kind of like have this whole process until you can get like pretty good sized nuggets or whatever.
Nuggies.
So we were supposed to go there, but there was a weird person camping in his van, and he didn't leave his van for like 4 days.
That's also alarming.
Yeah, right? It was weird. Like we walked over, and I'm like, is he just like?
Did you peer inside? Because I would have been like,
we like his doors were open and his dog was laying there. So I'm like, I guess he's okay. I don't know.
But he wasn't there.
I don't know. I didn't see him. Chase was like, yeah. He's like, babe, come here. And I'm like, what? He's like, there are people like crazy. Or people are crazy over in this like mining town.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Jeez. So
what else is there to do in that area except for mine for gold and probably get
that's what
high.
I said. It's really hot. So I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you do here? And he's like, basically, I'm like, do you camp? Like, what do you do? He's like, you basically just mine gold. I'm like,
mine gold, sit in a river, and get high off psychedelics.
Literally. It was actually, it was really pretty though.
Live in your van and dirt bag around. That actually doesn't sound bad to me.
I mean, it took 5 years to freaking get there. Cause like, we were like up on the mountain and we had to like drive down into the mountain. But it was pretty cool. Yeah. It was, we'll have to come up one time and pan for some gold.
I know, that sounds fun.
It's pretty I'm like, this is like, I'm like, I didn't know. I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. But like, even finding that like little fleck of gold, I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. And it was like literally like a little dust fleck. It was so tiny, but it was so cool.
Did you guys spend some time there? Did you do a little more mining?
No, we just did that once.
No, yeah.
Because just like you
stopped there? You could have found a fucking gold mine.
No, because like he's like what he said is like it was like so tiny that you'd have to like dig for a couple of hours, and we were already like we were over it because that night. So the first night we slept like the dead. Right, it was so good. The second night,
the best sleep ever.
I don't know what happened, but it was so hot in the camper. It was muggy. Caroline wasn't sleeping. Have you ever seen Old on HBO Max?
No.
So it's about the show where this like family of like 4 and then like a couple other couples go on to this island for like vacation, and then this guy's like, come to this private beach. It's really cool. Is that
the one where they age
really fast?
Really fast? Okay, I haven't seen it, but I've seen commercials for it.
It's really good.
It looks scary.
Okay, it's not scary up until one freaking part. There's one part where it is creepy as hell. She's in like this little rock part, and she's lifting this rock up.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, she's lifting this rock up, and her like shoulder breaks, but like
contorts,
like it like gets fixed a different way, and so she's just like her head, it's just creepy. And right after that happened, it sounded like someone was like playing with the chains of the camper. I was sitting there like, oh
in
hell
real life?
no,
in real life. So you watched that when you were camping?
Yeah, we were watching that when we were camping because it was like, I'm like, what else are we gonna do? It's like hot, The mosquitoes are out. And the firewood, like we got firewood, but it rained that morning, so it was so wet.
Yeah,
it would just smoke.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, we burned all of our good firewood the night before. So I'm like, well, I guess let's just watch a movie. It was like 10 o'clock at night anyway. So we're sitting there and it kept sounding like someone was like messing with the chains. And Chase is like, I want to go out there. I was like,
I don't want to go out there.
I was like ducking my head. I'm like, I ain't looking out no goddamn window. Right. So then we all slept like garbage that night. So I'm like, let's just go home. Like, I'm done. Like, it's just hot. We're tired. Sam was done from, like, day one.
Her doggy, yeah.
My dog. So he's old, though. He's, like, 9.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how old he was. I'm like, he's 5. No, he's 9. So we're driving home. It's a 5-hour drive home. Caroline, I swear this chick, I stopped giving her applesauce and started giving her, like, pear juice or just, like, no applesauce. And she shits twice a day. Literal liquid.
So it's kind of like prunes. Like, it's going to work. Get her.
Oh my God.
Business
pear
and
juice.
business.
And she's just like 2 shits every day. I'm like explosions at this point.
Maybe you should try some pear juice.
God, maybe I should, right?
Sarah with the 1 shit a week.
If I'm lucky.
Bruh, you still need to make an appointment with like a digestion specialist.
What is it? A colonoscopy?
Yeah, that'd probably be beneficial, except you haven't shit in so long. They'll shove the camera up there and it'll just be like a volcano.
I did today. I drank coffee today and I was like, I gotta shit.
You drink coffee every day. I don't know how. Anyways.
It depends on like what I drink or how much coffee's in it, and it makes me poop. Or if I eat Lucky Slice, that helps too. Super random.
How random.
It's so weird. So we were driving home. Do you know where Snowville's at?
Yes.
So we Chase, we always go up to Snowville.
I've actually gone up there a lot. I told you that because my stepdad's best friend since like kindergarten, his family owns property in Dove Creek.
Yeah.
So it's literally like, I don't know, what would you say, like 35 minutes out of Snowville?
Yeah.
And this is like southern Utah if you're not familiar
Northern
with.
Utah.
Yes, northern.
I was going to say.
Right on the Idaho border. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour away, like right outside of Tree Mountain. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool up there.
It is like a desert terrain, but like
it's weird, yeah.
There's a lot of shenanigans that you could get into.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm glad you brought that up. So remind me to share this funny story about Dove Creek after you catch me up with this camping trip, because I know you got a few stories for me. So I'm excited. It was
so funny. So we decided it was like 8 o'clock in Snowville. Caroline is just sitting there going, and she's like, the way she looks is she goes,
is it any different than how she looks at you normally?
No, this is like her shitting face. And you can hear it just go, and it is loud. I'm like I'm sitting there looking at my phone, all of a sudden I hear it, I'm like, was that you? And Chase is like, no. I'm like, that was a goddamn baby? Holy shit. So she's filling her diaper. And he's like, should we just stay another night? And I'm like, yeah. Well, let's stay another night in Snowville because like his dad has like
population of 800.
Literally,
Snowville.
So Idaho City literally is a population of 486 people. I'm like, do people like move here? And this guy's like, yeah.
That definitely gives you more context because it's like, what else would have brought you here? You know,
honestly, though, like what other than a mining town, right?
Exactly. But Snowville, there's fucking nothing in Snowville. But
I did get my Caroline necklace from Snowville.
Really?
Yeah, it was $10 in the gas station.
Okay, I was like, because you know what? I can never find a name that is the correct spelling for me in the gas station.
I'll have to look.
It's never ICIA. It's SHA, Alicia.
It's not Alicia.
It's, yeah, and like, when I have found them in the past, they're like, oh, Alicia. I'm like,
you're like, yeah, thanks.
Just make me relive my graduation. Why don't you?
Oh, that sucks.
Anyway.
So we stop at Snowville and there's this little lake. Do you know like that little lake is? Mm-hmm. It's just like but it's like Cuffer? Like CURF.
FER?
Yeah, it's like it looks like curfew, but it's like Coofer or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's try the lake. We haven't camped by the lake yet. Like that would be so fun. So we get there. We're getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. Chase bought this shower thing, so we showered, and we're sitting there. And I swear, a ton of these no-see-ums are getting into the camp, like into our trailer, right?
Yeah,
like it's just like the buzzing
gnats, yeah.
And it is like 12 at night, right? And so it is so hot. Caroline is like drenched in sweat. So
There's
we're
no
sitting.
AC in the trailer. Huh? Yeah.
So, and it usually cools down about like 4. So I'm like, let's just try. So we're sitting there. I'm like, we're laying down, and then we're laying there, whatever. We're laying in bed, and all of a sudden I feel this wet thing on my hand.
Oh,
I'm like
stop it.
on my arm.
Was it Chase's dick?
Listen, so I'm sitting there petting this face. Okay. And it has like whiskers and it has a wet nose. And I'm just sitting there like, you know, like when you like pet your cat's face and you kind of go like up like this with it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, wait, hang on. What the hell am I touching?
I don't even want to know.
I shoot up in bed. We're home. We're home in bed. I thought we were in the camper. I'm petting my damn cat.
Oh, this was a dream.
Yes.
I was like,
So we went to Snowville. We went home. I like to tell a story like kind of backwards.
no,
so
I
we
need
went
it.
home.
I need it.
So we went home. We got home at 1:30 in the morning. Right? I was dead ass tired. Like I was like in my underwear. I'm like, we're going home. Like this is done. So we get home. We're laying in bed, and I swear to God, I'm like, in my mind, we're in the camper. And I'm like, have my arm up, and I feel something wet touch me. So I'm like, what? So I'm like, petting this. And I go like 1. I'm like 2. And I'm like, on the 3rd, I'm like, I stop halfway. I'm like, what? I'm like, what in the hell am I touching?
I would have been like, is there a goddamn catfish?
I shoot up in bed. Chase is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I swear to God, we were in the camper.
Damn, dude.
I was petting our cat.
Lucid dreams are a trip,
my
though,
God, it was
because it feels
horrible.
so real.
I literally thought, I was like, well, there's a goddamn gopher that got in the camper.
I was thinking more like a catfish because it sounded like sluggish and kind of
Like,
slimy
because
to
like
me.
his nose was wet and he kept like his bowl was empty and he kept touching my arm and I was like, wait, this doesn't feel like I'm like I shouldn't be touching this where I'm at.
No.
Because it did like with Sam, like he has like his long nose, like wolf-like nose. Cats have like that smushed feline, and I'm like sitting there petting him, and I'm like I shot up in bed. I'm like, what the hell is that? And Jason's
You don't
like,
dream. You don't remember your dreams too often, huh?
No.
It's interesting.
Some
how
dreams I'm like,
lucid dreaming can affect you even in like awakened consciousness.
yeah, I could have.
You know what
I
mean?
swear to God, we were in the camper.
I've had such fucking trippy dreams where I wake up and I'm like, it could either
Like you
be,
think it's happening, you're like,
yeah, it could be either or. Like I go into the new day and I'm like, okay, like what lesson am I supposed to take from my subconscious? Like what
Right.
did it really mean? Or there's a kind of scary or creepy dreams where you're just like, I need to like shrug this off before I do anything.
I mean, and Chase likes to freak me out too. Because we're sitting there in the camper, getting eaten alive by bugs. It's pitch black outside. I'm right by the window. The window's open and Chase goes, babe, what's that behind you?
Nope.
I fucking lawn darted at him.
And he's so dry humored too. He's like, what? Like I could totally see him.
I can't, like, between him and his dad, I'm like, are you joking?
How
And
do you
he's
know
like,
when
"No."
he's joking?
I don't. I like his dad, he's like, I'm not.
That's not funny.
Like he could literally tell you the sky is fucking blue and you're like, or like purple and you're like, yeah, is it? Is it purple?
No, yeah.
You're like, what? Am I losing my mind?
well,
And he's like,
especially where
"Yeah."
you're watching suspenseful movies
We didn't even finish Old.
or like
We finished it
horror
we
movies.
finished it on the way home from Snowville. We didn't finish it. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Screw this.
Scary movies and shit like that.
It
It
wasn't
different when you're
But like
camping,
that, it was
though.
just fine up until she like fucking started like being disoriented or something. Cause then I was like, ugh.
Yeah, never mind.
And then like the chains, it sounded like someone was like lightly like touching the chain, and I was like, I'm like, can we go home tonight? Like, is it too hard of a drive home?
it's
tonight.
Interesting because
From Idaho.
the first deer hunt I ever went on, it was a muzzleloader hunt. You know, we go up to Dove Creek, and my stepdad's gone out there since he was a kid, and that's where I first shot my first gun and my first BB gun and all that stuff. But it's literally like there's nothing out there. Houses are spread apart by like acres, and it really kind of makes you wonder, Like, who fucking lives out there, right?
People are crazy.
There's this one house that looks like a junkyard, and you have to drive a ways to get to it, but it's just like in the dead center, just flat in this valley in this bowl between the mountains, you know what I mean? And just looks like a fucking junkyard.
They have like all the old cars just sitting there. They're like, yeah, this is where you take your car.
All the old cars. It looks like they had like old, just like cheap wood formations, like maybe an old tree house that had been torn down. So like
they're like, just bring it to our house.
Yeah,
we want that
trash. But not only that, there's like hundreds of goats on this property. Like hundreds of them.
Gosh.
And everybody in Snowville knows that person as the goat lady. And
so it's a girl. Okay.
Yeah, but like,
that's even better.
Nobody knows anything about her, and she's kind of turned into like a local urban legend because, you know, what is someone doing out in the middle of the desert with a fucking hundreds of goats? Like, and these goats are like on top of cars and like old cars, and just like they're just like roaming about.
They're just playing. They're like,
yeah. When you drive past her property, like it's kind of scary sometimes, even though she has it all fenced off. Like these
no trespass.
Goats are wild at this point, right?
Literally, so they're just like breeding on top of breeding.
Yes, they have massive horns. Some of them, and so it's like I'm not gonna fuck with you. Goats already kind of freak me out. I don't know why, but
I love goats.
I know.
A goat.
I know you do, and I think it's because I was chased by a goat when I was a small child, and
probably
that never
Why was
faded.
It chasing you? Was it banging? Blah, blah, blah.
No.
You're like, holy shit.
I think I was trying to feed it something because it was on someone's property. And then I don't know if he was just too quick and it freaked me out. And I was like, nope, we're not doing this. And no, I don't like goats. But I also don't like big birds. You have issues with birds? I have issues with birds.
Geese are mean.
Geese are mean. Fucking roosters are mean.
Turkeys are mean. So
They're
uncle.
fucking mean.
Yeah, my uncle. He in his little farm. I'll have to take you up there. Mm-hmm. He has a little bird cage. So he has like his like exotic birds on one side. They're really cute, like little tiny like yellow parakeets, and like he got 2 parrots, like the red parrot.
Even small birds are fucking mean to me.
But those ones are pretty. Like they're
beautiful.
Like in their cage. They're in their cage. Then you go over to like where like the bunnies are and like the goddamn like chickens.
It just has a whole
And then there's
zoo.
like this big ass turkey, and he just like looks at you through the fence, and he has all of his feathers just popped out, and he's like just watches you when he walks back and forth. And he's just like flying back and forth. And then the peacock's over there just looking at, and you're like, oh my god,
it's like the fucking burp, excuse me, the rooster like goes back and forth and is like, I know you eat chicken. I know you ain't a vegetarian, bitch. Like,
I know what you eat. And he's like looking you up and down.
Literally, because they have an agenda. I swear to God. Like, even so, my grandpa's one of my grandpa is just a fabulous human being. But he's been a little bit of a womanizer throughout his life, and you know what, I can say that because he'll agree.
We're here for it.
We're here for it. Live your best life, Grandpa. But
that's the best thing I've ever
one
heard.
of his ex-girlfriends, when I was younger, she really liked birds. She had pet birds. And these were beautiful birds. They're intelligent birds too. Like they'll repeat you, and like, you know, these
crows too. Something
that a lot of people don't realize either, motherfuckers listening, is birds live forever. They fucking live forever. Dude, like a macaw or like a parakeet or like, what is maybe it's not a macaw, maybe no.
Like
the bigger one.
Like the big white ones?
Merlot.
Or like the big, what about the big white ones? That have like the...
Yeah, what are those?
Those are
called?
cockatoos.
Yeah, so any of the exotic birds, they could live up to 65 years.
They're outliving you at this point.
They really are. And so when most people buy birds, like in the pet store even, or wherever you get them, they're like, look, this is a lifetime commitment.
Literally, they will outlive you.
And they're very territorial.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandpa's ex-girlfriend didn't have a cockatoo, but it was, you know, 2 exotic birds, and they were brilliant. Like, they would repeat my grandpa and be like, oop, shoo, bombs away.
Oh, that is
like,
the cutest thing
or
ever.
they'd say asshole or like.
They didn't like him very much.
Whatever. Like, but they would nip your fingers and those beaks are sharp.
They're like that.
Yeah, and I would try and hold
beak.
them, and there were only a couple times in that couple year long, maybe it was longer than that, but 3 or 4 year relationship where I was actually able to hold it because they would peck at you. And that's not where my fear came from, but I don't even know. I think I might have shared this story on the show already, but I'll share it again because, where my mom used to live, it's in East Layton. So it's out by Antelope Island. It's kind of swampland. And I had to have been like in 7th or 8th grade. And my dad's riding his bike behind me. He's cracking jokes. And I remember sorry guys, looking behind me and laughing. And he's like, watch out. And before I could look forward, there's a goddamn pheasant that literally was in front of my bike tire, leaps up because they don't fly, and literally landed in my lap and was just like flapping my face. And I clipped because there's like a fence on the side, one of those, the ones with the holes. What are they called? Anyways.
A chain link?
Yeah, a chain link fence. Thank you. And I catch my fucking handlebar in one side and just like crash, and that was terrifying. And then my second cousin had a rooster that I'm not joking, they have a goddamn agenda. Fucking birds. I mean, why wouldn't they, right? They're like, we can fly.
But my question is, like, what happened in your former life? Did you die by a bird?
It was probably pecked to death by ravens.
But see, them damn birds are smart too. Crows, like, they remember.
Well,
so if you piss them off, they'll piss you off until you give them like a peace offering of something like a tinfoil. They just want something shiny.
Well, but then
so him
and his 10 buddies come back because they think they're gonna get something better.
The rooster, or the pheasant,
the fucking crows, or even seagulls. Like seagulls are really smart too. We have a lot of them in Utah.
That's
mainly because of the salt water in the Great Salt Lake.
What salt water in the Great Salt Lake?
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's actually higher than it has been in the last couple of years, so that's really good news.
Really?
But there's a lot of brine shrimp in the Great Salt Lake, so we got a lot of fucking seagulls here. But we joke in the state of Utah that seagulls are the rats of the air. And
rats of the sky.
They really are. Like
they're disgusting.
They are disgusting, and I don't know. I'm not a bird lover.
Speaking of birds,
I know.
Driving up to my grandma's house. So not the way you would come, but like from like my house up that Comby Road. We were driving up there, and there was little quills. Have you ever seen a quill?
Yeah.
They're like this big, and they have the little like feather.
Yeah, the little. Doily.
Oh my God! They had little puffballs. I shit you not, this big of babies running behind them. They were like little balls of fluff, and I was like, babe, oh my God, look at them. And he's like, what? I'm like, look at the little baby quail. They're so cute. And he's like, what?
They're so cute.
That's a cute little. I'm like, look at them. They were so cute. There was like a little mom and dad, and I love their little like feathers sticking out of their head.
Doily.
Because they're just so small, and they're babies. Like, I shit you not, we're that big.
Well, they're
just
cute,
like
but
hopping. They're just hopping along the road.
Birds are not our friends. And you know what? Like, I understand that you're more of an animal lover because you basically grew up on the petting zoo. Like, your grandma literally has a fucking buck.
2
bucks, multiple deer bucks.
They're fallow deer.
Yeah, but there's also these really, really adorable little
babies.
Fawns. Yes, and
aren't they fun?
They're so cute, and like Sarah's like grown up around all these farm animals and like forest animals, and I'm over here like, get the fuck away from me! I will shoot you.
I know. I even took one of the original does when she was a baby to the red. Remember, like, the red schoolhouse, like, preschool?
Yeah.
For show and tell. She had a diaper on. She was, like, a couple weeks old.
But how could you not? See, that's different.
And I remember we were sitting
I'm
in
not
a circle,
hating on baby animals over here.
and she was like running around eating everybody's shoelaces, and I had the coolest show and tell.
The adult ones that have had enough experience with the human race and are like, fuck you.
They love,
rightfully so.
No, they love my grandma.
Well,
like, I mean, she like that.
She feeds them. She loves them.
They hear that door slide open, and they like the one little goat with like little bell on. Hears her, and he looks over, and he's like, "There's Graham," and he just comes running, and they all look over to see like the little bell running one, and they get in a line.
Your Graham,
and they just like
has to be the most adorable human alive.
Isn't
when
so
we
cute?
Walked into her living room the other day, and she was
I
she fell
know.
asleep, and Caroline is asleep on her chest.
She lives for that.
I would too, wouldn't
like,
you?
Because Caroline's not a snuggler. Like when she was little, like 7 weeks was like her newborn stage, like 7 weeks and younger. That's the only time we could really swaddle her and like really like tuck her in and kind of like squeeze her a little bit. But after that, like once she figured out she didn't need covers, to this day,
she's like,
she does not want covers.
Why would
like,
I want to?
I'm like, you're freezing. So I try to put my cover over, and she like wakes up and she's like, nah.
Elliot's the
And kicks
same
him off.
way.
So
He's
I'm like,
actually been
whatever.
rolling out of the bed a lot. But I'm so glad that you got that picture of your Graham and Caroline, because I was literally
know.
like, me and Sarah are over here like tiptoeing into the living room.
Because it's so quiet. I'm like,
and
"Can we
I'm
go?"
like, and she's
I
like,
know. We're like tearing up. I'm like, I don't even know how she got her to sleep like that, for one. Because like, she sees me, she's like, I need a nurse to sleep. My aunt just puts her in her little swing, and she passes within, literally at my aunt's house, she will sleep for 4 hours.
and then
Just in
you're
her
like,
swing.
thank you. She's not going to sleep tonight.
No, and then like, I'll just keep her up when I pick her up, put her to bed about 10 o'clock, burp. And she's just like passed out and then wakes up at 9.
Cheers, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, cheers.
It's a rarity when Sarah drinks a beer with me on the show.
This
so
is like a good beer.
It's a honey
the
wheat
bee's knees.
Roosters Brewing Co.
See, I like isn't it an IPA?
Yes.
Ale. It's an
No.
crisp American wheat ale with honey.
So, yes, no.
Because I don't love
But this is 5% alcohol
Beer.
per 12 fluid ounces. So,
damn.
it's pretty great.
It's pretty smooth. But like I don't love Coors
No.
or like that type of beer.
I can't drink Coors. Bud Light's like water. Pabst is
Budweiser.
my go-to cheap on the river or lake beer. Bro, did you see?
We'll usually drink like Michelob's.
Or like, yeah, I like the ultras.
the liver.
95
For the-
calories, bitch.
For the liver. For the river.
For both.
Yeah, the liver and the river. What?
The liver is it? Wait, no, that's the kidney. I'm like, the kidney's in the back.
That's your kidney.
But did you see my fish that I caught?
Mm-hmm.
I caught it on Saturday. I caught a beautiful brown
Clark.
on the Weber River, and
Tell Chase that he'd be jealous.
Elliot named him Clark. Elliot's really into naming everything.
I love that.
I love it too, and it was
I'm here for
such a goddamn shit show reeling in this fish because I'm up
Have
there.
you ever been fishing before?
I go fishing every weekend.
Doesn't sound like it.
This was a big fish, and you have to also like consider I was like reeling from downstream or upstream.
Oh, yeah.
So there was also the added tug of the river, and
He's like, I'm not going. I'm following the river. And
Yeah.
you're like, nope,
And
come back.
I've fished the Weber a few times this summer. Simply just like waiting for the rest of my family to get up to our meeting point to go kayaking, right? Because
Yeah.
we do the shuttle. So we'll park 2 cars up at the top, unload, and then another car will be at the bottom. So we have a ride back up, etc.
That's, yeah.
But,
I do.
I'm always the first one up there by like a good hour and a half, 2 hours. Cause
I ain't got nothing else to do.
we're running on Leo party time. So,
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's the only time she'll be on time or early for something.
it's genetic. If you want me to be on time for anything, you tell me to come an hour earlier than what I'm supposed to.
But that's how I am too. But the only time that the only appointment I've noticed that I will be 5 minutes early for is my own eyelash appointment.
Or is
Megan,
the
I
time-
am talking about you.
Or is the time someone actually does give you an earlier time to make sure you're on time, that's the only time you're on time?
That happened one time.
Wow. That was a lot.
But yeah, but Megan knows I'm always like 5 to 10 minutes early. I'm like, girl, this is the only time. There's like been a couple. I'm like right on time. I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm late. And she's like, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm late.
But that's probably because you're a lash artist and you know how it shifts your entire day if someone's even 5 minutes late.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But there probably is a couple times where I'm like late and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, do what you can, girl.
I'm
Like, I don't
always
even
late.
care.
I'm
But
like,
she's cute. She listens to our podcast.
I love her already. Dude, Kate, so I've been getting a lot of fucking inquiries about the podcast, and we'll have to go over that after. But we have Quinn from You Into Basement coming the first weekend of August. So if you're in town.
The what?
The first weekend of August.
First week?
First weekend of August.
So I won't be here. I'll be in Disneyland.
Girl.
Dude, I'm like, Jay's got this freaking time off, and he's like, we haven't done anything. I'm like,
You're going to have
dude, I have not been fucking home.
You're going to have to do a Hard Talks Hit the Road since I've been doing so many of those. Hard Talks
That's
Hit the
fine.
Road from Disneyland.
Yeah.
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 Just shoot me up. Shoot. I couldn't think of the word.
Shoot me
Just
up.
call me up, bruh.
Just the way your face, though.
It looks
Shoot
like
me
I'm
up.
trying to like pinch one off.
How
huh?
much did you have to drink? Just shoot me up. Okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
But so Quinn is coming on, and then we have the guys from 801 Lake Talk who want to come on.
Sick.
Dre Rocca and
Hey,
me
I'll be here for Dre.
are trying to set up something, but he's so busy, so we're trying
Dre?
to coordinate. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to coordinate our schedules.
He has like 13 podcasts.
What else? Mikhail Eastbrook wants to come back,
Yes.
and so does Chris Cruz, who's in our intro.
I need to be here when Chris Cruz is here.
Yes. So Chris has been on a couple
I want
times.
him to say my name.
You need to be here for the third time. Maybe
And,
we'll
oh my God.
play a game with Chris Cruz just because he has such a sultry voice.
Yes. And I will find some good entries for him to read on Patreon.
Yes, and that's a great idea. And then we should also maybe consider doing like our Amazon reviews.
Yes.
For the Chris Cruz
Yes.
return. Yes, Chris Cruz, when you watch this, you're getting called out right now. I think that is it, but fuck, we have a busy schedule. Yep, burp. Sorry. In fact,
After that,
Gosh,
like after
burp.
Caroline's birthday,
oh my gosh,
on
burp.
the 13th, after that, Chase goes back to work. I'm pretty available.
We need to.
I'm available after that.
We need to do a Hard Talks babe birthday episode for sure. You know, like looking back on Caroline's first year. That'd be good.
I've tried. Okay, I've been really bad about it on some days, but I've tried to take a picture of her every single day for a year.
Oh, to try and create one of those reels?
No, I just wanted a picture of her every day. But we could do a reel for the Hard Talks fam.
Yes,
And
that
do
would
like
be
kind of
cool.
like really fast. It might not be 365 pictures. It might be like 300
I'm
pictures.
sure you have enough pictures of her cute face to kind of fill in.
But like I have ones where like I would take them of her like that.
yes.
So like it was like her whole outfit or like this.
God, she's so cute.
So
Show
it's
the
like
people.
it's on her. Here, I'll show you.
She's so
this one.
fucking cute. And her is that pineapples on her shirt?
This one?
A little pineapple? No, the one that you had pulled up with her
Oh.
sun hat on.
Let's see. No, those are lemons.
Oh, she's a little lemon,
That's her eating a tag.
sweet and sour.
It looks like she's flipping.
She
me
likes
off.
tags a lot.
She loves tags. There's my baby
Yes.
girl.
So I think that's everything. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Brett, our boy, didn't come through, but he's got a busy schedule.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Brett.
Oh, Brett, you fucking asshole. God. No. You can't come in. Hey, I'll be in town. You want me to be on the podcast? No.
No, he hit me up and he's
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Yo,
He's like,
I'm in town. I want to come on the show.
That's what I just said. When you listen back to this, you'll be like,
get the three
yeah.
originals back together. Yes, I'm just agreeing.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing.
the hippie, the blonde, and the dumber. I'm just kidding, Brett. I'm just kidding.
The dumber blonde.
I'm kidding.
No, well,
I do.
But he can
I was
definitely
excited
claim that.
I was excited to, catch up with you and see where your life is at.
But then
Atlanta.
we recorded our Titanic episode, and it was
you
better.
Bailed out.
Yeah,
You better listen to this, because you're an asshole.
He is. He's gonna send us a message. Anyways,
send us a message.
So Sarah,
cheers to you.
Cheers.
Clink.
Clink. You're not here, so guess you don't get the good luck. Salute, bitch. Sarah, I know there have been advancements in your sex life. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Should we say that on this one?
Yes.
Or is that a Patreon one?
Are you willing to
People,
share with
I'll share it. But we're like, you guys would be so proud of me.
Set the scene, because we all know Sarah has a very... very sensitive gag reflex. So
very sensitive.
What happened?
So it's like the tip goes and I'm like,
yes,
literally. I can't do it anymore. Can't do it anymore. So we're
fellatio is a way of life.
That's fine.
It's good.
So we're laying in bed. Prime day, right? It's Prime Day. And I'm reading my book.
Wait, did you buy anything on Prime Day?
We missed it by 20. We had 25 minutes. Apparently our session lasted longer than 25 minutes. It never lasts that long. I just thought we were going to get it, but we didn't.
I had to comment on that detail because you were just like, it was Prime Day, but we bought nothing on Prime Day.
I remember.
It was a Prime Day for different reasons.
Yeah, I remember it was Prime Day because we found a really good deal. It was like the Ring doorbell and like the Echo screen for $84. Regularly $190, right?
Wow.
So we had it in his cart, and he's like, "Hey, babe, you wanna, And I'm like, "Not really, but."
Do you stock up on your cocoa now?
We actually have another box. Our one tube is almost out. He took that camping.
Good for you.
So we were laying there. I was reading my book. Caroline finally went to sleep. We're co-sleeping. Yes, I know. Get mad, whatever. I don't care. Fuck you. But anyway,
talked about that.
She was sleeping, and usually she'll pop off and like I'll nurse her to sleep. She'll pop off and she'll like roll away from me, and like her neck's all like hyperextended. And she's just like laying there all weird. So I'm like, okay, I feel bad. He hasn't had any sex or like anything for a hot minute. Like, poor guy. Like, this dude loves me so much. How long do you think it's been? Honestly, we've been doing it a lot more lately. Usually it's like weeks at a time.
But I think
like a week. It's usually like we'll always go with like at least the longest we've gone, other than having Caroline was the 6 weeks, and then I had my cervix scraped was 6 weeks. It was like the longest. The longest we've ever been was like about 2 weeks.
Okay, so, but I think that's an important note to add, just because a lot of people listening could probably relate to that, right?
Yeah.
Sex is hard after giving birth, and you need to be patient with the process and be patient with your body.
And if like you're listening, if you just had a baby, like it's fine. Like it took me a long time to even want to have sex with Chase.
Yes, your partner should be understanding and accepting.
I was like, it was kind of sex. I was like excited. I'm like 6 weeks. I'm like, yes. After having, I'm like, I don't want you to go anywhere near there. Getting stitches. I'm like, don't touch me. Don't look at me.
Just the thought of scraping.
Just like the thought of like pushing a baby out. Yeah. And then like him, I'm like,
And two,
very weird.
I think that'd be an interesting topic to touch on in the future. There's other ways to be sexual or with your partner. It doesn't always include or have to include penetration, if that makes sense.
No.
So do what you will with that information.
Yeah, this night there was no penetration. So I was like, it's been a hot minute. My book was getting real spicy. So I'm like, it's been a hot minute. Let me just, give it a licky lick. Just, see what I can do.
So you're at home in bed.
Yeah, it was like 12 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So like prime time, like prime day was like ending within like 1 o'clock.
Where's the baby at this point?
She's like on the other side of the bed.
I love it. Okay.
Like you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
The scene is set.
So
Okay, I'm
we're
there.
laying in bed. Sam's at the foot of the bed. The baby's in the very far corner. Her music's playing at this point, like little like baby lullabies. We're sitting there like, okay, babe, do you want this? Like this is pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, I would look on Prime Day because like I want to get a projector for the camper. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I want this. And he's over here like, so you want it? I'm like, get off me. No, I don't. I'm reading my book.
I love how
and he's like, babe. I'm like, don't touch me. I have 5 minutes left. And he's like, babe. I'm like, his hands are down my pants. I'm like, don't touch me. I have 5 minutes. I had 5 minutes after this chapter. I'm like, let me finish my fucking chapter.
But in the inside, she's like, please don't stop.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, but really, just keep your hand there. It's fine. So he stops and he's like looking. He's like, yeah, I kind of want this. I'm like, well, let's get it. I'm like, order it. And I'm like, why order? I'm like, sneaky. So I'm like creaking on the bed very quietly. Not touch the baby. Don't touch the dog.
He's like, babe, this is Lewis and Clark. Let me explore you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like moving the covers. Then I grab his underwear, his boxers.
Burp.
I'm like, burp. I'm like pulling them down, and I'm like, licky lick. And then all of a sudden, I deep throat this bitch. And he's like, whoa. And I'm just going at it. And he's like, babe.
And you're like, shut up.
He's like, is that deep? He's like, that feels really deep. I'm like, uh-huh. And he's like, you've never been that deep before. I'm like, shh, yeah, going at it. And he's like, hang on, babe. He's like, oh my God. He's like, babe. Okay, babe, hang on. He's like, you better stop. I'm going harder at this point. He's like, babe. And he just like comes in my mouth, and I'm just like going at it, and I just kind of like pop off, and I swallow, and he goes, did you just swallow? And I'm like, yep. And he goes, what have you been doing? He's like, have you been practicing? And I'm like, no, I literally have no idea what just happened.
Sarah buys those fudge pops in bulk from Costco. And
literally,
she's like,
though. But honestly, though, I'll do that to a popsicle, and I'll just deep throat that, and I'll like pull it out, and he goes, why can't you do that to me? And I'm like, and then I'll go back, and I'll go, ugh. See, I can't do it either.
What is that movie where he's like, Private Miller, it's fucking Pineapple Express. He's like, Private Miller, be serious right now. And he's like, I am serious. Your dick, my mouth. And that's what I imagine. Like, yeah. I'm so proud of you.
It was and I'm very open about that because poor Chase. But like that's the thing too. Like I'll talk about our sex life, but it's like people think I'm joking. I'm like the one time a year we actually did it, and I got pregnant. No, literally. Like we did it like maybe like once or twice that month. I don't know why he loves me.
But you know what? That's why I think it's so great that you guys do so much together, and I think that's a lot
it's
to
not
say.
Always sex either. We've been camping literally. Have we not been camping every weekend?
But no, it's that's what I'm saying is it has nothing to do with the sexual act of anything.
And that too, like
it's you guys are best friends and you enjoy each other's company. But not only that is like you are excited to learn new things about your husband, and you guys have been together for years, and I think that says a lot about a healthy relationship, right?
It's not weird anymore because I'm like, well, I guess I don't want to be embarrassed. She's like, why are you embarrassed? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, like you literally watched me birth a child. All humility goes out the door at that point. You know what I mean?
Like we've shit in front of each other. Like it's just like there's no boundaries between us. So I'm like, I guess it doesn't really matter now. But like too, it's like again, like we don't always have to be sexual.
And like, this is the same guy that pisses between your legs when you're sitting on the toilet.
Well, we only had one bathroom.
Yeah. Well,
and he had to go.
But I'm just saying.
So I'm like, come at me.
I think it's really, really cool that you went out to this, what did you say, 400 person population town?
Yeah.
You mined for gold, and initially you even said, I don't know if this is something that I really want to do.
Because, like, the way he's like, you have to do it for hours and dig, like, this, like, 4-foot hole. And I'm like,
Yeah, but as soon as you did it
Do I have to
with
go?
him, it's not necessarily much about what you're doing. It's who you're doing it with.
I got excited because of how he got excited.
Yes.
He was like, babe, like he was excited to show me. So then I got excited because he was excited.
And I think that's the exciting thing about committed relationships that work, you know? Like you could be with someone every single day and share so much with them. And
I'm ready for him to go back to work. Don't get me wrong.
Right. But there's still so much you can learn about your partner.
And that too, I was telling him too, I'm like, babe, we've literally been with each other like almost like I go to work on Wednesdays and Fridays, granted, or like he'll go camping with his dad up in Idaho City, or they go to Winnemucca. His dad has another one in Winnemucca. I'm like, I don't want to go there because that's literally like
what's in
7
Winnemucca?
Hours. Like, and he's like, he hates it.
Where is Winnemucca?
It's Reno, Nevada.
Oh, there is really nothing there.
No.
Except for a lot of fucking meth and heroin.
Yeah. And he's like, it's
and
always
gambling.
windy. Yeah. It's always windy. They stay for 2 nights and they end up at a casino. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go. But I'm like, you can go. And and it's kind of funny because like everyone, like and I love how close he's with his dad too, because he's always going with his dad. But like, that's what we need in our relationship.
Well, and I think that I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think the reason you and your husband work so well is because you guys have your own identity, you have your own space, you have your own things to do, and there's a level of comfortability and trust that comes with it, that when he goes out for a whole weekend, you're not there like questioning it. You're probably like actually living the high life. Like, I get my break. I get to watch whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean?
Literally,
But
I can watch what I want on Netflix. That's not
saying,
YouTube.
Yeah. That saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder, I think it's absolutely true. And you need to be able to trust your partner, and you need to be able to have your own friends and your own hobbies. Yeah. Like you have this podcast.
I have you. And he goes out like with his dad. Like there's like a couple weekends where he just went back to back, or like he'll go one weekend, stay home, and then go the next weekend. And I can tell when he needs to get out, because I'm like, are you going with your dad this weekend? He's like, no. I'm like,
are you stir crazy?
I'm like, you sure don't want to go with your dad this weekend? Like,
that's where
I got a lot
where Sarah
of
calls
reading
me and we
to
drink
do.
a bottle of tequila.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want to like go away for a day or two? And he's like, I can't. I'm like, yeah, could you please?
But that's a fucking healthy relationship right there. You know, you guys have grown. You most definitely are not the same person that I knew 5-6 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, just even your way of thinking has changed. And so has his. And then
having a baby too, really, like.
Absolutely. But, you know, like, you guys are able to expand and grow and flourish as individuals, but as together.
Yeah.
And that is fucking key. So.
I think, too, and it really, like, a lot of it.
I love you guys.
We love you. A lot of people like our relationship. I think it's great. I'm like, because. But what was
pretty
nice,
jealous
though,
of it, actually, bitch.
I'm jealous of it too.
Angel, who was on last weekend, was joking about it. He mentioned something, and you'll hear it when I publish it after you leave.
Publish it.
But he's like, you know, we can't all meet our fucking soulmates when we're 19, right? Or stalk them, right?
Yeah, that was me.
So, you know, like, shut up, Sarah. We know your marriage is great. We know Chase is great. Fuck him.
Really, like, it's like honestly, if I never would have met Chase, I probably wouldn't have got married or had kids. No one can handle, like, people think like I can. No, like people. I'm a very hard person to handle.
But you know what? You are like a nut.
Yeah.
You have this hard exterior.
Do I, though?
You do. You
very
really
squishy.
No, but I know you are such a very emotional and giving and caring person.
Yeah.
But when you first meet you almost don't expect that you would. I don't know. Like, you're just so like funny and outgoing, and
I don't expect those who are my friends.
Reserved is the word I was looking for.
A lot of my friends that I do have, like me and one of my other best friends, like, we hated each other when we first met each other. She thought I was a complete bit. Like, I thought she was just like resting bitch face, and she's like, I thought you were like too loud and retarded.
Well, I'm glad that you and I hit it off right off the bat.
Yeah,
even though I was
and that too.
boss.
I mean, that's the whole probably why we hit it off so well.
Because you were kissing my ass.
Probably. But it was super good, let's be honest.
The truth comes out, people.
Well, yeah.
Fucking A.
5 years later, deuces. No, I just like, because I do know a lot of people that don't like me. Like Chase's
I don't believe
stepdad.
that.
Chase's stepdad did not like me when he first met.
But he does now.
Yeah, he even actually texted me. He apologized. He's like, I feel so bad. He's like, I didn't like you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's fine. Like, I get it. I'm a hard person. I'm very loud.
I don't agree with that statement. I think, because we're our own biggest critics, I think the biggest thing that comes to mind when I first met you, when I look back on that time, is you were just very reserved. You're a little quiet. You're a little more timid. And then as soon as you get to know Sarah, she's like, I have so much to say.
You can like literally hear
and
me
I want
from
to
a
laugh at
block
everything.
away.
Yes, I could recognize Sarah's laugh from a mile away. I really could.
Literally.
That's actually how I found her the last time we met for dinner with the salon.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't see these people. And then I hear Sarah's laugh. Oh, that way.
You're like, I found her.
That way.
Okay, like, Sarah, can you laugh? And she's like, there she is.
So,
Found
I
her.
think rather than saying, oh, I know there's people out there that dislike me, I think you need to look at it in a different way. I think there's people out there that are envious of you.
But that's the thing too. It's like my friends that I do have, I know they're genuine because of how I am.
But you're carefree and you laugh and you love hard. That's a Taurus thing. And I think when other people who are actually introverted, who aren't able to be as outgoing, they see that and they're probably jealous in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's where that mostly comes from.
I could talk to anybody.
You really could. And you have developed that skill over the years.
Yeah.
Because I was always the one where I was like, I could go talk to this corner for an hour. And then now I see Sarah and she's this blossoming, bubbling, beautiful
it actually
woman.
Over age. Like high school, I was like that too. I'd always hide, be in the corner, just like do what everybody else wanted. I was a big people pleaser.
Yes, me too.
But now I'm like, fuck the world.
You know what
I don't give a shit anymore.
You know what my therapist has said, that why we are the way we are is because, like, why we're such people pleasers is because even though we had great, in the sense, childhoods, like there was nothing, like we had good homes that we grew up, we were fed, we were cared for, like there was never any abuse, we were loved.
Yeah.
But there was also this disjointedness between our parents and ourselves, and the sense that we were kind of emotionally neglected. So we seek that in other ways. And I think that's why we're such people pleasers. At least that's what my therapist brought to my mind. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Just because we're looking for validation that we may not have gotten as children.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Fucking psychology.
I have daddy issues. It's fine.
I have a great dad who's very involved in my life, and I still have daddy issues.
But you know what?
But I have mommy issues,
It's
too.
getting better. It's getting better. Like, I've talked shit about it, but you know what? If he ever listens to this, sorry, Dad. But, like, it's like he texts me, like, he got Karen, like, a cute little doll, and I sent, like, a picture to him, and he's trying. And then I reached out to my stepsister, and I was like, let's hang out. Like, I miss having you around. Like, we both, like, her little girl just turned 1, mine's about to turn 1. I'm like, let's get the girls together. Like let's just, like, I'm like, I need to stop. And I even said it in I texted her, I'm like, you know what, I need to stop being a petty ass bitch.
You're
like,
being the bigger person.
Like, this
here.
is 100% on me.
But you know
like,
what?
I
don't think you're being a petty ass bitch. And you know what? If your dad does listen to this, all the respect to you, sir. But
sir, I like how you say that, sir.
No, truly, like,
but yeah,
truly, because he is your dad. But
at the same time,
he has never heard your feelings or your perspective on the matter. So yeah, it might hurt someone's feelings, but that doesn't take any validity away from your truth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And if he ever does hear this, maybe it's exactly what he needs to hear. Especially because you are trying to form a new found relationship with him and that side of your family. And I think that's wonderful. If it makes you feel good, I think it's wonderful.
I'm just like into like I always like I'm trying to like reach what is it? Reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Like do what you like, because I'm like always telling people, I'm like, but too like after letting it all go, like getting older, like this happened like I was 18, like I'm 27, like I feel like I just like grew up, like, and I feel like having a baby, like you literally grow up.
Yeah, motherhood does that for sure.
Fast. But too, I think it would have happened either way, no matter what. But like I'm just over, like I don't want to hold a grudge anymore. I don't have time for that in my life. I don't have energy, especially today, because I'm freaking exhausted from touching a goddamn cat that I thought was like a wallaby or something.
A fucking catfish in my bed.
God, scared the living shit. Oh my God, I didn't know what I was thinking. It was weird. But like I just don't, like I'm over it. Like why?
You don't have the energy to give to that negative space anymore.
And like again, like I do, like after,
that's how you know you're healing.
Yes. And too, and a lot of it is like seeing what other people do with their dads. I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
Right.
Like I wanted him to meet Caroline. I even talk about Grandpa Chad. Like this is from Grandpa Chad, and she probably has no idea who it was. She's like, what? Like
Not
she
yet.
like she knows like Papa, and she'll know Papa Kev, Pops, which is Jerry's boyfriend. I'm like, I want her to know who my dad is.
You're putting in the hard work now. You're building the foundation so that when it is the right time, it will work out. And I applaud you for that, because that's not easy.
I'm just over it a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point to bring up too. You know, like as you age, I was thinking about that. I've met a lot of new people. With recent shows I've gone to, and I've been in contact,
especially this, like
with
you
new
really
followers too, and I'm just kind of going back and forth and answering questions. But I don't necessarily think about like how other people perceive me, in the sense of like, oh, do they like me? Like, how do they view me? But more of like, when people think of me, I just want to be remembered as a lovely person.
You're my trippy hippie, Alicia.
Yeah, I don't want to pass any negative energy or negativity around to anybody else, and anyone that I meet. Like, I just want to spread that love and, you know, share that PMA and uplift people, and that's how I want to be remembered.
Tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah, PMA. My dad was laughing at PMA because my dad was really resistant on listening to the podcast for a long time, because we're crude and we talk about all sorts of things.
Hit my nose.
There's just things he doesn't want to hear, right?
I know. I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I tell her anyways, and she goes, I'm like, yeah,
but no,
like I don't care. I'm a very like, why not be open? Like we should be more open about sexual things.
So, but everybody should be open about all sorts of things, and you know, that's kind of why we created this platform, right? We're here to talk about the uncomfortable, and if some people aren't ready to hear that, you know, that says a lot about where they're at in
but
their
just like
process.
too, like give them time.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna hate it at first, but they're gonna come back and be like, you know what? Like I know like your true feelings. Like you're not hiding anything from them. They're like, okay,
but it's more of
genuine.
Like getting people to think for themselves, right? Okay, where am I at, you know, sexually? Where am I at with life and healing and, you know, my journey of self-discovery, etc. But anyways, like my point was, my dad just started listening because we've been doing a lot of these conspiracies now. He's really into this.
Hey.
And he messaged me and he's like, you just come off as a spectacular pair.
Spectacular.
A spectacular pair.
Word. I like that.
Yeah, and it's just like, if that's how we're like
perceived,
observed, yes, that's the word I was looking for, then that's great.
See, we finish each other's
sandwiches.
I like how we said the exact same time, but it was two different words.
It's the same thing. But no,
definitely.
I don't know. Life is a trip, but it's rad, right?
And we're here for it.
There's so many phases in life where you can get easily bogged down,
but I'm so excited for 30.
Yeah, and
I cannot wait.
There's so much to come, right? No matter where you at, no matter how old you are, You could be having your best day today, but
have a shitty one tomorrow.
It's just your best day so far. You know, there's so much left to experience, and so I'm stoked for you, man. I'm excited that you're expanding those relationships and you have such a healthy marriage and you're happy and you're such a good mom and you're thriving.
Now,
you really
put on
are.
that on our happy marriage. We do, like, just know, like, we do argue.
Yeah.
We do, like, it's just, but like that, like,
There's no such thing as a perfect marriage.
like, we'll fight.
You and Chase are
I
far
call him
from
an
perfect.
asshole all the time.
But the difference is you are willing to go the long haul to work at it.
And there's a song out. It's by Spencer Som. It's like a country song, and it's called "Made." And it's like soulmates aren't found; they're made. And so like that's
Absolutely.
like I really like that song because I'm like, wow, that's like so true. But like that too. Like again, like you can have more than one soulmate. Don't get me wrong. But like once you find that person, you just don't know what I'd do without that man.
Yeah. There's obviously
Actually,
a
I
difference.
do, but it's fine.
There's a difference between a soulmate and a twin flame, but sometimes you have the blessing of
Finding both.
yeah. And, you know, I think you and Chase are the perfect example of fucking yin and yang, right? There's moments where you'll literally speak for him because he's so
so
reserved.
introverted, and I
Yes.
love it. And like that just is like, I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, like, please. He's like, help me.
Yeah. And
And-
I've
that's
known
what's
you
nice.
both long enough just to where
He actually
when
says
I
more than 5
when
words
I do
to
see
you.
Chase, like I know like I can joke around with him,
Yeah,
right? Because he's
yeah.
a funny guy and
His joke, so I'm like,
he does have a lot to say. It's just like getting to know someone enough to
it takes
know the
years
difference.
for this kid to talk.
Yes. But in anyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But it's cute. Like him and my brother now we're like 2 peas in a pod. Like my brother was up this like past couple weeks ago, and he's like, I'm still in your husband, and I'm like, okay, you guys are boyfriends, it's fine. And my brother goes, yeah,
have fun.
we are.
Have fun.
And he's like, I'm still in your husband. I'm like, go for it. And Chase is like, I don't know what I'm doing. See you later. I'm like, bye.
But I do have to say, your once a week is still pretty healthy sexual relationship.
But I mean, like, you gotta like put in kids. Like, you have to like. Sometimes we actually have to like plan
Carve out
it.
the time, yeah.
It is. It's hard because like with having a co-sleeping baby, people are like, well, what do you do? I'm like, she sleeps in the corner.
We have her mattress laid down on the floor in her nursery now, and that's where we go.
We're working on it. But like that too, like a lot of it is like, but why? I mean, like obviously she's not gonna remember a lot of this. I'm not gonna have sex with her in the room when she's staring at me when she's like 3, right? No, but like
My dad did that to my poor little sister when she was like 11. That's
Oh
too
my
old.
God.
And they're
That's what she's
camping
gonna
and
remember.
she does. She brings it up every time she can. She's like that one time you fucked in the tent when I was right next to you. Yeah. Like,
See,
yeah, okay.
it's fine.
There's
It's
a limit.
we're like too, like why am I gonna hide it? You know, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, she should know that like we do argue in front of her, we make up, but like that's the thing, like that's what she needs to see, so her expectations aren't like I need like this, like obviously have like a really good relationship, at the same time like just know like look at your parents,
Right.
but too like no, it's
This is the level of affection I'm looking for in my future spouse.
Like
Because
she'll need a Chase.
a father and a mother are the first examples in any child's life. You know, some people try and spin it and make it weird, but no, it's fucking true. Like, you date people who are like your dad.
Yeah, like
Hence my issues.
So right, yeah, and it's so funny. 'Cause
I love you, Dad.
like
But still,
But-
we all got our issues.
Papa Leo party, we love you,
Papa Tom,
but
yeah.
it's okay. You's crazy.
You gotta
but we love you.
You gotta quit the toxic cycle so I can quit my own toxic cycle. Thank you.
Thank you. But no, it is so true. So actually, I found out like last month that I married my grandpa because he was more of like a father figure to me. Like, obviously, because my mom was like the only girl with 6 boys. So like, let's be honest. But I was talking to my grandma.
Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, right. I don't know. I ask her sometimes. She goes, "No." I'm like, I don't know. But me and my grandma were talking, and it was like they would always go camping. I'm like, if Chase could, I swear this kid would live at Home Depot. He wants to work at Home Depot, or he would live at like Sportsman's.
Every time I message Sarah, which is like every day, they seem to be at Home Depot.
Home Depot.
Or what's the other place?
Sportsman's.
No, what's the other home building place?
Lowe's?
Yeah.
We're either at Lowe's, Home Depot, or Sportsman's. If you don't know where we are,
I'm like, do you have a credit card?
Local Lowe's,
Do you
Home
have a
Depot?
credit card with Home Depot or Lowe's at this point?
We probably
feel like
should.
you guys are
Jay should just get a goddamn job there. Or Sportsman's.
or be a banker for them.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know. Like, he actually applied for a coding job for a Home Depot.
Oh, you know, that'd be good for him.
He like, his dream job is to work at Home Depot.
Right.
And like, that's like, I was talking to my grandma and I'm like, I like to go camping, don't get me wrong. It might be a fight to get me there, but once I'm there, I'm fine. I just want to stay at home and read a book. That's how my grandma was. Mm-hmm. And so now she's like, Grandpa always wanted to go. And I'm like Jace, like this one that I have. And she's like, yeah. She's like, him and Grandpa got along so well. I'm like, you're telling me. And I'm like, Grandma, me and Chase have your guys' relationship. And she's like, you do.
You definitely do.
Because, like, there's two peas in a pod. Like, Chase loves to go fishing, loves to go, like, anything outdoors.
Why have you guys never been fishing with me?
I don't know. We just haven't gone this year.
Well, let's make it happen.
But I think, too, a lot of it is because, like, it's a little bit harder with, like, how little Caroline is. Because we haven't even gone paddle boarding. But, she already has a fishing pole. But I think next year it'll be fun because then she'll be able to, like, walk. And he is so excited to take her fishing.
Yes. I love fishing.
But,
fishing.
Yeah.
It's been a peaceful meditation type of state for me.
I like to read. But.
And you know what? I've found my luck in just not giving a shit. Like, just going up, playing some good tunes. Like, Journey. It only took me 27 years to fall in love with fucking Journey, despite my parents' efforts. But I feel like Lights is going to be my most played song of the year now.
So, you need to listen to Firehouse. They got some bitchin' bass.
Okay. You know I'm a bass head. Well, bass head baddie.
Listen to them and listen to someone else's bass. Firehouse. They got some good bass.
I'm actually going to see, you don't know her, but like Vampa. She's an EDM.
Yeah.
You know Vampa?
I don't know her, but I follow Serena.
Yes, and you also, yes, okay, so yeah, she's really great. I'm gonna see her next Wednesday, and then DOS is coming up. But I've also gone to a lot of non-EDM shows this year, so it's been good. Like,
I like that.
Gone to a couple country shows. I've gone to
We've just been camping.
A couple indie shows. Black Keys was
fun,
great.
Though. You gotta expand.
I love live music, and now that I'm back into like the dating scene, it's hard because when people are like, "Oh, what kind of music do you like?" I'm like, "That's a loaded fucking question," because
You're
literally love
anything that has a sound,
anything that moves me, that makes me feel something. Like, I could go to an opera and just be blown away.
Oh yeah, because our fucking lungs are still.
And live music makes it
that much better.
Even more because I'm just like so astounded by their talent. You know what I mean? Like, you're able to do this right now. So I love all music, but
Caroline loves to dance.
Oh, she's so. I know.
It's cute how she does it. She says and she goes
a little jiggle.
She
wiggle,
like
wiggle,
bounces up and down. I'm like, are you dancing? She goes, and then she'll go. I'm like, I don't know where you got that from, but okay. As I'm like the whole way home from Idaho, every song came out. I'm like belting it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
That's how you know you're comfortable with your partner, is when you can belt it to the world and nobody else matters. That is my favorite.
We went not this Idaho City trip, but we went up to South Fork. I had the music going, and we had like this little cute cement pad, and I was just like being weird dancing, and Chase was just standing there doing his own thing. I'm singing to Caroline, I'm dancing to her, and he's like, yeah, that's my wife.
You and I are so similar in our quirkiness, because I was at my mom's working, because I can work pretty much anywhere now. And yes, it's lovely. I love that. But I go out to her her garage at her new house, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. That's where we're going to have our 100th episode
Hell yeah.
party.
We are.
Right there. Anyways, so I go out to the garage. I think I'm in there alone. The garage doors are closed, and I'm getting a drink, and I'm just like busting a move. And I have like a whole fucking routine because I have my headphones on and I can't hear anything. And then I like do a spin, and my stepdad's just like standing on the edge,
just watching the whole time.
And he's just like, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize anyone was in here. He's like, obviously.
He's like, yeah.
I think that's like the best things in life. It's the simple things, right? It's just like fucking feeling yourself. Like, I had a very minor compliment given to me in my day-to-day at work, and it made my entire day because my new job is hard.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, someone was like, she's really getting it. Alicia's really getting it. And I was like, for the rest of the day, up until now, I'm like, I was dancing in my kitchen, and I was doing my dishes naked, and I took a shower, and I masturbated, and I was like, yes, I am fucking awesome. Nobody could tell me differently.
No.
Not even you.
Nope. I wasn't going to say anything.
So.
As long as you don't cook bacon naked.
That hurts. Yeah, don't do that.
I mean, get the little, like, greasy pop.
Don't do that. But before we wrap it up, I wanted to share this one update with you, life update.
What? Ooh, life update about your dating life?
No.
We need a snippet of that.
No, I don't need to speak about my dating life because it's a mess, but we will do a whole episode talking about dating apps because they're awful. No offense to anyone who's found their soulmate on them. It's just not for me.
Who you find on Tinder.
Well, everyone that comes to me or that I think is attractive initially ends up being a goddamn narcissistic sociopath. So that is just what I'm attracted to, with the label of loser across their face. Anyways, or asshole. Anyways, asshole. We're from Boston. But my oldest son, who is adopted, visited a couple weeks ago, and I got to spend some time with him. I picked him up from his mom, and I drove him to my grandparents, and we were planning to hang out with him for, the rest of the day. And before I left, he stops me. And I also want to add a little disclaimer. I don't know if my aunt listens to this. I've been hesitant to share this story just because I don't want to say anything that will make her feel any type of way. That is not my intention here. This is just, what happened. And, I think we should look at it in a beautiful way because our son knows you as his mother, and he knows me as his birth mother, and he absolutely knows the difference. So just moving forward, I just wanted to make that clear in case she ever hears this. But, my oldest son stops me before leaving. He's like, can I ask you some questions? And, he's 9, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And he's just like, why'd you keep Elliot, but you didn't keep me? And I was kind of caught off guard by that, especially because I don't know how much to share.
Yeah. And
I don't know what has been shared already. And I don't want to cross any lines with my aunt, his birth mother, or his adoptive mother, excuse me. Sorry. It's confusing for everybody. It is, for sure. Imagine what it'd be like for a 9-year-old. So
that's why he's asking.
Yes. So he's just like, I got those letters that you wrote me when you were in the hospital with me. And I'd mentioned this several episodes ago, but, he was just like, I never considered you as my mom. And you kept writing them basically from a mother perspective, like mommy loves you.
Smart.
Oh God, and yeah, I was trying to dissect this situation and kind of give a thorough response per his level of understanding.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not like I'm going to give you the full-blown details. You're still very young, despite how brilliant you are. And so that was a hard one for me. And they don't really talk much about what an open adoption relationship looks like past the first year. And I have waited for this conversation for what feels like a lifetime. So I've been anticipating these kinds of questions, but I also, when I imagined it in my mind, I imagined him being a little older, like a teenager or a young adult, so we could have a beer over it or, laugh about it or whatever.
Really understand it.
Truly. And, my best response was, I was young and I still was in school and I wasn't able to give you everything that I wanted. And the biggest question he kept asking is like, well, you couldn't afford me. You couldn't afford me. And I was like, well, it was much more than that, Sure, I couldn't afford you. I was working at Chick-fil-A. I was in 12th grade.
Mentally.
But just, yeah, mentally, everything that comes with being a parent. And I could still see that he didn't quite understand. And I was like, well, you know what? If you have any more questions that you think of while you're in town, I would love for you to ask me. That's what I'm here for. And as I'm walking out the door, he grabs me and gives me a big hug. And he's like, sometimes I wish that you would have kept me and that you were my mom. And that was just like a load of bricks to my soul a little bit, in the sense that I wasn't able to provide that for him, but also thinking that maybe I put him in even more of a confusing position than it would have been, or given him a more confusing life rather than just keeping him. But then I weighed out all these thoughts and these emotions, and I was just like, I couldn't have cared for you and given you everything I wanted, and then gotten myself to the place that I am at today, and be able to support Elliot. Granted, I don't think Elliot would have ever been born if I had kept Grady, just because I don't think I would have ever met my ex-husband if I had a child or that relationship continue. And so it just got me spiraling, doing a lot of shadow work and, rethinking my life and where I'm at now. And for the first time, I can honestly say that in my adoption healing process, I didn't feel regret, if that makes sense. For the first time, even though, yes, it may have been or is more confusing, for the first time I felt like I did make the right decision. Me and my aunt may have different parenting styles, but he is a genuinely wonderful little human. And, I look at my boys and my other son out there in the world, and I'm like, you know what, those are the best things I've ever done in my life so far. So it's just interesting. I wanted to bring that up because anyone who's familiar with an open adoption probably could understand that navigating that semi-awkward kind of co-parenting relationship with the adoptive parents, especially if they're your family members, it always will remain a little bit, I don't think the right word is tumultuous, but it will always remain a little more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. Just because there's some difficulty doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or it's bad, as long as there's open communication between all parties and you kind of know where both sides are at. It's been a beautiful therapeutic experience. Truly.
Yeah.
Just having my kid look at me and be like, I really love you.
Yeah.
Not because you're my mom and not because you're the one that raised me, but when I look at you, I have a connection with you and I just really love you. That means a lot. And so, yes, that was a new development. It was wonderful. Getting a little emotional over here, and I'll tie it up at that. But just something really rad, you know. Adoption really is an onion.
Yeah.
You're always peeling back layers, and it's always a new level of discovery with what may lie underneath. So
Absolutely.
And that with anything, with life, with marriage, with relationships, with whatever you're going through, you know, I just really encourage you to take the fucking bull by the horns and buck it out, bitch, because you're strong.
You are definitely strong.
PMA.
Oh.
You're strong, bitch. Don't you forget it. And,
Damn
you know,
straight.
we're here to just, like, talk about life and expand the mind and support you and
We're here to support
ourselves and
everybody.
our own endeavors, because life can be hard. It's tricky. But it's not unsolvable, you know?
No.
So
Life's greatest adventure.
life's rad. And that being said, Sarah, thank you for catching me up on your life.
My camping life all summer.
And your sexual life. And your
I'm
marriage
proud of
and,
that.
and you should be, you know? But, you know, guys, I just want to remind you of your own inner strength and your power. And I want to remind you that you have the capability to do anything that you set your mind to. And I just love you, you beautiful sunbeam motherfuckers.
Love ya.
Love ya.
Yeah, what?
You're sunbeam motherfucker.
Son of a bee?
Son of sunbeam. You're a little
Sunbeam. Oh.
Little
Thought you were
sunbeam
saying son of a
motherfucker.
bee. Okay, sunbeam.
That too. But
I was like,
yeah. You have anything else to say?
no.
No.
What is
I
that
love
noise?
you. It's Elliot using the toilet upstairs.
Nice.
Yes. Yes. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. And I
Till
hope you
next
guys have a
time.
great week. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Hard Talks with B&H. We are on Twitter at Hard Talks with B1. You can find everything else that we are on in the link in our bio. So definitely check that out.
Wow.
Check it out.
Chink the armor.
Check it out. Chink, chink.
Check it out. Check it out.
I hope you guys have a great freaking weekend.
Until next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes.